This is our time. The main news at this hour. I'm Andrei Sinitsin. Hello. The Russian Terrorist Federation attacked Ukraine with strike drones and missiles launched from the air, land, and sea. In total, there were 447 aerial attack weapons. Among them, 2 Zircon missiles, 21 KH-101 cruise missiles, 16 Kalibrs cruise missiles, and 408 strike UAVs. This was reported by the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The main targets were the Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Rivne, and Vinnytsia regions. Air Defense Forces shot down or suppressed by electronic warfare 406 targets, 24 missiles, and 382 drones. Last night, Russia targeted power grids, generation facilities, and distribution substations. Rescue and repair operations are still ongoing at the sites of enemy strikes, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The aftermath of the shelling was recorded in the Volyn, Ivano-Frankivsk, Lviv, and also Rivne regions. In Rivne in particular, a multi-story building was damaged. In the Vinnytsia region, the administrative building of an agricultural college was hit. There were also strikes in the Kyiv and Kharkiv regions.
Every day, Russia can choose real diplomacy, but instead it chooses new strikes. It is important that everyone who supports the trilateral negotiations responds to this. Moscow must be deprived of the ability to pressure Ukraine with cold. For this, we need missiles for Patriot, NASAMS, and other systems. Every shipment helps us get through this winter. I thank all partners who understand this and truly help. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine.
The Russian Federation carried out a massive strike on substations and 750 and 330 kilovolt power lines. Nuclear power plants were forced to reduce their generation capacity. This was reported by the Ministry of Energy. Currently, the country's power system is being balanced through electricity imports and the introduction of restrictions. Ukrainergo has increased the volume of emergency power outages, which have been implemented in most regions of Ukraine. The enemy also attacked DTE's thermal power plants in various regions of the country. The equipment has been significantly damaged. It should be noted that this is already the 10th attack on the company's thermal power plants since last October.
The nuclear power plant units were unloaded by the staff. As of today, across the entire territory of Ukraine, there are about 4.5 to 5 stages of emergency outage schedules, and in the east and north, special emergency outage schedules. Power engineers will begin restoration as soon as it is safe to do so. Denise S.H. Myhal, Minister of Energy of Ukraine, on Telegram.
There are wounded in the Rivne region as a result of yet another barbaric Russian attack. There are also reported disruptions with electricity and water. As noted by the head of the Regional Military Administration, Alexander Koval, alternative power sources are being used in the region. An apartment building was also damaged there. According to preliminary information, no people were injured. Utility services have begun restoration work, and a heating station has been set up. Meanwhile, in the Vinnytsia region, an educational institution was damaged. 5 neighboring buildings were also affected, including a dormitory. This was reported by the head of the Regional Military Administration, Natalia Zabolina. According to her, doors and about 150 windows were blown out in the buildings, and the heating system was damaged. There are no dead or wounded there. Emergency services are working at the scene, and damage assessment is underway. Meanwhile, in the Kherson region, 13 civilians have been injured, 3 of them as a result of a morning shelling by terrorist forces of the Russian Federation. The aggressor attacked at least 4 settlements in the region. Residential buildings, as well as a medical facility, were damaged. In the regional center, a Russian drone attacked a bus. 10 people were injured as a result of Russian attacks on the Zaporizhia region. This was reported by the head of the Regional Military Administration, Ivan Fedorov. According to him, over the past day, the Russians carried out 570 strikes on 39 settlements in the region. For the attack, the Russian Federation used aircraft, drones, multiple rocket launchers, and artillery. 104 reports were received about damage to homes, cars, and infrastructure facilities in the region. Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Andriy Sybiha, responded to Russia's strikes on Ukraine. According to him, such attacks require accountability. The minister called on the international community to put pressure on the Russian Federation.
Tightening sanctions on Moscow, imposing restrictions on Rosatom for its role in preparing these attacks, holding those responsible for aggression accountable within the IAEA, as well as issuing additional arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court for criminals who plan and carry out attacks on civilian heating and power supplies during low temperatures. Andriy Sybiha, Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs, on social network X.
Ukraine has confirmed a meeting with the Russian Federation delegation in the United States in a week. This was announced by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in a comment to journalists. According to him, the meeting will likely take place in Miami. In addition, according to the President of Ukraine, the United States is proposing to end Russia's war against Ukraine by the beginning of summer.
Why specifically by this summer? We understand that their internal issues in America have an impact and will likely become even more relevant for them. For the first time, the parties discussed that difficult questions could probably be brought up at a trilateral meeting of the leaders. Probably, but this would require some preliminary steps. What's important is that the discussion of such a format is present in the dialogue. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, also said that during the negotiations in Abu Dhabi, the United States agreed to participate in monitoring the observance of the ceasefire once an agreement on its implementation is reached. Currently, at the delegation level, discussions are underway on how to technically ensure such monitoring. Zelenskyy emphasized that this position of Washington does not exclude Europe from the future monitoring process.